If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Most of you know I've been covering the food shortage scamdemic, whatever you want to call it. I mean, let's just be real. This is done deliberately, being blamed on a shortage of truck drivers, being blamed on a flu that's barely taking anyone's lives, being blamed on people who will not take the magic potion. Of course, well, what else can they blame it on to do something that they've told us a million times over they wanted to do, which was stop the food supply. And also, what I'm going to show you in a minute here are clips of some of these news stories, which you need to see, talking about portions, because portions are going to be a big part of this. This is what we have allowed the insane to do. And I covered this on my website, talking about how we're letting the insane take over. And not over the asylum, although you could call America an asylum or the world an asylum at this point. We've let these people who are so butthurt about being made fun of literally drop dominoes on the effect of everything in the world. And you might say, well, how is that connected, one connected to the other? Well, think about it. The mentally insane who are controlling free speech and free thought, because everyone is pandering to them, are disabling people like me and you from speaking and showing and proving that these types of things are planned from these certain events that occurred right before the whole thing, which we've all covered, 201. Yeah, all of that type of stuff, to these cargo ships that are sitting out there that won't come over and deliver the products on the ship. So there's a shortage of things on the shelves. And of course, the shortage has led to a spike in prices, inflation, destruction of economy. This is something they've told us they want to do. They've said it. They've openly said it over and over. These aren't just random YouTubers or something that are talking about this. This is the World Economic Forum. Biden's there. World leaders are there. This is what their plan is. And these people still think it's a conspiracy because they can't wrap their heads around anything, because all they think about is people hurting their feelings because they want to chop off their wee-wees and to have bottom surgeries. Okay? The problem is that they are slowly destroying freedoms. And this isn't, you want to call it socialism, Marxism, fascism. Let's just call it what it is, a new world order. And it starts with these three things. Number one, a spike in the price of food because there's a lack of food to eat.
Lena, thank you. Sitting in traffic like that is not fun. You know what else isn't fun? Paying more to fill your fridge. Food prices are up more than 4.5% since last year. You've probably been noticing it when you go to the grocery store. Product shortages and widespread supply chain disruptions are really driving up how much people are paying at checkout. News4Jax reporter Corley Peel is joining us now live. Corley, this is different than the shortages that we saw earlier in the pandemic last year.
Originally, we saw the shortages with the toilet paper and the hand sanitizer. Now it's a little bit more random, like Lunchables and toys. But the shelves are not completely empty. Here at Target, we noticed that there are many items that are still in stock. Just some are missing from the shelves, but not completely empty. However, we did notice that the prices have gone up. We went shopping and found a wide variety of missing items at several stores. Where shoppers would typically find snacks, dog and cat food, and canned goods, the shelves were partially bare. We visited Target and Publix in San Jose. And here are some snapshots of what we found. Several canned items were off the shelves, fruit snacks were limited, protein snacks were also limited, Lunchables were low in stock, some frozen items were missing, even snacks like jerky were running low. Both stores had limited pet food on shelves, and we spoke with a man who had to go to a couple of stores just to find dog food.
Have you seen any shortages with like any of the pet food? Because that's also something we've been seeing.
I've seen a little bit on the pet food, but I've got pet food in the car from another store, so I'm happy with it.
Along with emptier shelves, food prices have gone up over the past year. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, food prices increased 4.6% since September 2020. If you are out shopping and you see any items that have been hard to find lately, take a photo of it. You can upload it to Snapchat and you can let your fellow shoppers know what is in the store.
Oh, very convenient. Very convenient. As we have cargo ships sitting on shore, and we're more so, you know, I'm not a scientist or anything like that. I'm actually way smarter because scientists are frauds. But I'm pretty sure you need food and water to live, right? So let's weigh our hands. Everybody put your hands out to your left and your right. Weigh that, right? Put your left hand is food and water. Your right hand is getting sick from a flu. Now, let's make it clear. You're gonna die without food and water. The percentage of people croaking from this other thing is very minimal. So I would think that food and water are way more important. But of course, we need to cut that supply chain off because we have to prevent the spread of something that isn't even doing anything. And that's why we have to, of course, get hospital workers out of their jobs and things like that, and just continue to cause people to pull their hair out and want to fight amongst each other over something when the government is doing this. And then, of course, we have what's going on in the schools. The schools are running out of food.
Brownsville ISD making changes to their school menus. Channel 5's Stephanie Rosales is in Brownsville following this, and she joins us now with more on the reason why. Stephanie?
I'm in front of Hannah High School on Price Road, which is a part of BISD, a district that has been impacted by a supply chain issue. And this has been going on for months. But this issue is a part of another big problem. Brownsville ISD has been dealing with food shortages since the start of the pandemic. And although it comes in waves, this is the worst they've seen it.
Some of the challenges that we are facing include product cancellation, product discontinuation, delayed or canceled deliveries with little or no notice at all.
Cruz says this is a problem affecting schools all across Texas because the food supply is not keeping up with the demand. It hasn't gotten to the point where schools are serving smaller portions, but they are having to substitute certain menu items while still meeting the needs of the Texas Department of Agriculture.
I have to get waivers from the federal government to do certain things and feed, certain menu items that are normally approved.
Miller says some of the foods that don't meet normal regulations are foods that are not 100% whole grain. The Texas Department of Agriculture understands the difficulty of being able to get certain food items, so they are allowing flexibility to buy products that are available. All schools a part of BISD, including Hannah High School, are having to replace some of their more popular menu items because the manufacturers they are working with, such as Jenny O and Tyson, are having supply chain issues. Another big reason is a shortage of truck drivers, which results in schools not getting their food on time. And while this leaves districts with little to no time to change their menu items available, they are working with vendors to make sure they still provide meals that are healthy and nutritious.
Yeah, that's right, and they are seeing what a lot of people are seeing across the country these days, and that is a shortage of certain food supplies. We are outside of the School Nutrition Services building here in Chesapeake. We're just inside of that warehouse. They compile all of the food and then they distribute it to the different schools in this area. And they say despite having this warehouse and being able to store food long term in some cases, they're still seeing some issues. And they say, in fact, that even weekly they're having to go back and change the menus at the last minute just to be able to feed the students.
Our count is going up and the availability of the food is going down. For example, if we order 250 cases of pork barbecue, we might get 25.
Which you can imagine isn't enough to feed the thousands of children within Chesapeake Public Schools. Larry Wade Sr., Director of School Nutrition Services, says they're increasingly being forced to make last-minute menu changes just to get food on the plate.
It happens almost every day. We've had this issue since August.
Like here at Greenbrier Intermediate.
The kid may want to come in and say, you know, he's looking for barbecue, but we had to change the menu.
The substitution just needs to meet nutrition guidelines.
From day to day, the option or the consideration for a Costco run or perhaps a Sam's run is a real reality.
Wade says last year the district was serving about 3,500 meals for breakfast each day and 7,500 for lunch. Now,
in the middle of September this year, we were serving almost 15,000 lunch meals and almost 9,000 breakfast meals.
While the number of kids to feed has increased, so has the price of supplies.
We've seen increases above 9 and 10%, and it's continuing to rise.
Wade says school nutrition has a budget of $13.5 million to feed students.
We've received guidance from VDOE. The school divisions have been given a green light to make the necessary adjustments.
Yet on top of the food shortages and supply chain issues, there are also staffing shortages.
And the biggest thing is staffing. We're working on we're understaffed right now.
CPS says they're down 72 school nutrition workers and 28 lunchroom monitors.
For some way, these ladies, man, they get the job done.
CPS showing how a little creativity can keep cafeterias running and bellies full.
And we're meeting more often to try to come up with ideas. We're brainstorming and creating new and innovative ways to provide meal service.
Now, it's important to reiterate that there hasn't been a time where they weren't able to get food to students and get it on their plate. Students have always been fed, and they credit that just because of the collaboration between staff and the ability to store food here in this warehouse.
And obviously I've covered this, but the reason I'm showing you more and more of this is because now it's spreading. This is the repetition of the pattern. These are local affiliates, same thing, different states, Alabama, Wisconsin, spreading. Can't get Lunchables, right? At the grocery store. Not saying that anyone should be feeding their kid Lunchables, but you know, you can't get Lunchables at the Target, at the grocery. And now the schools don't have enough, and they're trying to minimize portions. Well, portions is part of a new world order. This is part of control, okay? So this is probably something that will affect a lot of the liberals, who most are husky, out of shape, disturbed human beings, who will probably be upset when they can't get 5 Whoppers to shove down their throats and maybe 2 up their rear. And they're going to be forced to have portion sizes because, you know, we have to protect the environment and protect the world because the world is apparently burning around us. But it's not them they're not doing this. They're not doing this with things like HARP and CERN. No. Why would they? Why would the controllers ever want more control of the people? Right? Remember, these are the people who are supposed to be working for us. These are supposed to be our employees, right? You might be working at Target, Walmart, grocery store, unemployed, listening to this. The government is supposed to work for you. Does it look like the government is working for you? Does it sound like it? Supply chain down, prices up, cargo ships not delivering food or anything else, clothing. Why? Because they're afraid of spreading a bug versus, well, if we don't eat and we don't drink water, we could die that way of starvation. And the imbeciles who are just totally just adopted to a party instead of adopted to reality, who don't realize that the left and right was created to divide the people, they just stick with their party. And whatever the party says is good for the people, is good for the people because they're part of a party. It's like being part of a team, right? I've told people before, I grew up a sports fan, Giants, Yankees, okay? This is what they feel like. They feel like they're on the team. When I was a young kid, I felt like I was a part of the team. When the Giants lost, I felt like I lost with them too. Sometimes I still do. You know, if I try to get caught up in the nonsense and the fakeness that it is, which is not even real, so I shouldn't, but I try to pretend, right? Well, these people believe in the parties, the left and the right, like it's a sports team. They're on a team. They're a part of a team. Whatever that team and that coach says, whether it's Biden or Trump or whomever, you follow orders. You follow suit. So all of this stuff, they would never question it. They would never say, oh, the government would be doing this. They say, oh, well, everyone needs to take the magic potion. Let's forget the fact about, being immune from getting sick if we have it. And they've even told us that 99.9% of the people who have the potion will not have any severe consequences if they're in contact with someone who doesn't. And they should say, well, that's a pretty good percentage. I'd probably take that. No. So we'll cut supply chains off. We'll spike the price of gas. We'll spike the price of food. We'll spike the price of picking your nose. Because every single thing is being spiked because this is inflation. To destroy what they've built originally, well, they have to smash it. And I mean smash it. And they are doing that. They are taking what they've built, which is this economy, this industrial age, and they're destroying it for their new industrial revolution, their transhumanism industrial revolution, which has to do with cryptocurrency, destroying the dollar, world economy. Couldn't be more obvious or right in front of people's faces, but they don't want to believe it. So these are the things that we have going on. And these people still don't want to believe this stuff. It's like, I think about the potion. And 10 years ago, let's just hypothetically say 10 years ago, all of us, I've been anti-magic potions for a long time. Never been in. Never would have been in. Never would take one. I don't care what the thing was. Nobody cared. They just looked at us and said, okay, well, they're anti that. That's fine. You don't want to get your flu shot, then don't get it. Well, I don't care. Now, because it's affecting their day-to-day life, because they've made it affect their day, they all are experts on it. They all know all about it. They've never researched any of this stuff. They don't know anything about it. They know nothing about mRNA. They know nothing about nanoparticles, nothing. But now they're all pros. All the celebrities are pros. All the talking heads on TV are pros, right? All the YouTube trolls are pros who do nothing. And the same people want to cut off their wangs. They're all pros, right? Because it affects them, their day-to-day life, wearing masks and doing this stuff. So now they know all about it. But we've been talking about it for decades, and people have just been like, yeah, okay, well, if they don't want to do it, they don't have to. But they've been told, hey, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your life. They're being selfish, and they just hear it, and they just react to it the way they're told to react to it. So this is what all of this leads to. That is what has led to this. That was needed to create this. Because without that entire thing that we see going on with the one-niner, there is no destruction of the economy. There is no food shortage. There is none of this. And this all has to happen for the Great Reset that they speak of. And nobody seems to care or make note of it on the quote-unquote left. And barely anyone on the right who are big faces on the right who are pushed and promoted, of course, because you're only pushed and promoted if you believe in the left-right paradigm. For people out there who are like, oh, call you're a shill and all that stuff. Well, if I really wanted to stay safe on here and do all this stuff, then I would become and talk and promote Republican policy and Trump and politics like they were real. Then I'd be protected. Because most of those people do. 99% of them do. And don't count Jones, because Jones is part of COINTELPRO. That's how it works. So this is the game plan. This is what they're doing. And if people don't see it and realize it, they're out of their minds and naive beyond words and not even seeing everything. The price of everything is up. And like I said, the easiest point to make to a family member or a friend is, what is a bigger risk? You're sitting at your home, okay? You got 3 kids. Let's just be hypothetical. Close your eyes. You got 3 kids. Imagine what they look like. Maybe you have them anyway. And you got a wife. And they tell you, you can either take the chance of your kid getting the flu, or your kid, all your kids and your wife and you not eating food, not having enough food to eat, and having a shortage of food and water. What would you take? The complete moron would take, I would take the lack of food and water because I don't want to get sick. Because they don't have a thought of their own in their mind. Because all they do is regurgitate the news. That's the problem that we have. And they're going to continue to do the food shortages. And I'm telling you right now, the portion thing is part of their plan. It's a huge part of it. It's total control. It's Soylent Green. People lining up to be fed. Well, you get one biscuit. That's all you got. That's probably when a lot of the liberals, the quote-unquote liberals, I hate to even call them that. I don't know what to call them. Because they're a different breed of human. Most of these people, I don't even consider them that. But when they can't have their Whoppers and their fries, as many as they want, then they'll probably start to get more upset and then be like, oh, I shouldn't have started censoring free speech, and I shouldn't have started censoring this or that, and then going and complying because now look, we're getting portions fed to us. Yeah, that's how it's going to work. Total control. That's the new world order. Reminder to check out the website at callforanuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. Check it out if you haven't. I appreciate all of you who are here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you greatly. And of course, the patrons, if you're not one, please consider becoming one if you can. It's greatly appreciated. It keeps me here on YouTube and helps me reach new people. And of course, I know a lot of you ask why I'm not on BitChute and I'm on these other sites, because there's not new people there. Do you know any kids that are like, I'm on BitChute? Are you going on BitChute after school? Obviously, YouTube is more known than the TV. Okay? And if this was about me being famous and all this other stuff, then I would just still be pumping out videos on my old main channels. But since they got shadow banned, I can't reach new people. And the whole point is to reach new people, and the new people are here. The youth is here. It's the only reason that I stay here. I don't really want to deal with the censorship, and it's not just to be spiteful for what has happened on this platform. It's to reach new people, and I don't blame anyone else who has left the platform, because it's an absolute headache for all of us who are still here. So if you can become a Patreon, please consider doing so. I appreciate all of you greatly. Thank you for being here. God bless you and your families.